Today I am in Chiang Rai. This is the northernmost major city in Thailand, with a population of around 200,000 people in the metro area. It took a 3-hour bus ride for me to get here from my base in Chiang Mai. I'm going to discover what there is to see here over the next few minutes. Some of the most intriguing places to visit when coming to Chiang Rai are away from the city center. For that, I've booked a tour that will get me to the sites that I want to experience. Stick with me and we'll see what we can find. The city of Chiang Rai is the governmental center for the province of the same name. I've heard the place described as being a quiet and simple town, but it seems to be growing as a prime tourist destination. I'll show some more sights from within the town itself a little later. For the most popular attractions, however, it's necessary to travel out into the province. My tour group was small, just me, the guide, and a couple from New Zealand. We hit what is considered to be the top attraction first. This is commonly known as the White Temple. For all the temples, I will add the Thai name on the screen. Wat means Buddhist Temple Complex. This complex has 8 or 9 buildings. The appearance is what makes it so special. This main building and many of the others dazzle in a bright white color that sparkles in the sunlight. It looks as if the structures are made of porcelain. In truth, they are formed out of concrete, and the spectacular visual is created by combining whitewash with reflective strips. The effect is stunning. For reasons of copyright, there is no video or photography allowed inside the temple itself. And that's okay, because I really wasn't all that impressed with the interior. The exterior of this place, though, that's where it really shines. It's hard to imagine how many photographs are taken every day of the various elements within this complex. One unusual feature that is apparent in the artwork on the inside of the main building and elsewhere within the complex is the inclusion of characters from popular culture. This spot includes depictions of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Elsewhere, there are images of everything from Michael Jackson to Hello Kitty. Much of that is because of the time frame in which the White Temple began taking shape. I know when I think of Buddhist temples, I think of places that are hundreds of years old. That is certainly not the case here in one of the most popular sites in all of Chiang Rai. This temple was built in 1997. All of this was designed and built by a local Chiang Rai artist. It's said that he has spent more than $1 million of his own money on the project. Still, the entrance fee is very reasonable at 100 baht per person. That is less than $3 US. I haven't seen many reliable estimates for the number of tourists that come to the White Temple each year, but that number is significant. One source threw out a number of 1 million people per year, and from what I saw on the day that I stopped by, that could be fairly accurate. Apparently, work on the complex is still ongoing, and expectations are that it won't be completed for many more decades. The White Temple is located southwest of the city of Chiang Rai, while the Blue Temple is on the northeast outskirts of town. This was our second stop on the tour, and it was the perfect complement to what we had seen just minutes earlier. While the White Temple gleamed, this site overwhelms the senses with rich and vibrant shades of blue. You have never seen anything like this place. For all the blue that is on the exterior, the color explodes when going inside of the main building. This is one of the most remarkable scenes I've ever been fortunate enough to witness. The contrast of the white marble Buddha and the luscious blue colors surrounding it can be breathtaking. It's important to remember when visiting any temple that these are religious sites and that they should be treated with respect. Everyone entering the main building is asked to remove their shoes, and there's a whole etiquette involved if you want to be a good guest. The spiritual aspect of this was driven home as my guide led the other tour participants in a series of chants. The artist behind this temple complex was a student of the creator of the White Temple. It's no wonder then that this is such an appealing place visually. Built in 2007, this is actually a more recent addition than the White Temple. It is not a new religious site, however. This was built on the ruins of an old abandoned temple. Apparently, this also was once fairly dense jungle territory and home to tigers. Thai name for this site reflects that, translating to Temple of the Dancing Tiger. The crowds were not as large at the Blue Temple when compared to what I saw at the White Temple. If asked, I don't think I could choose which one was my favorite, as they were both astounding. A welcome fact about the Blue Temple is that it is totally free to enter. Talk about a bargain. My tour began with white, then blue, and then black for the third stop. This is the Blackhouse Museum. Some get confused and think that this is a temple as well. It is instead more of a museum and art gallery. This is the main structure at the site. It is filled with paintings and other assorted pieces of art. Of note are the animal skins, primarily of large snakes and crocodiles. Even some of the furnishings are made with bones, skins, and other animal features. In fact, I've read that the Blackhouse is the world's largest repository of furniture and art installations made from animal remains. There's a dark tone here, not just in terms of the actual colors, but also when it comes to the atmosphere. This was founded in 1976 by an artist. It was his home and studio. Themes of suffering and death are prominent in his art. Some of the pieces were controversial in the past, but mostly have gained acceptance now. It would take quite a long time to see everything here. The Blackhouse is not a singular structure. There are actually 40 buildings on site, and they each contain artwork, relics, or something else of interest. It was a thrill being able to walk the property and investigate the various buildings and what secrets each held. I got about 45 minutes to see as much as possible in that time. My guess is that you wouldn't get bored even if spending 2 or 3 hours taking it all in. The cost to enter was 80 baht, or around $2.35. It was a full morning seeing some of the most popular attractions near Chiang Rai. There was a break for lunch near the Blackhouse Museum at a restaurant called Give Green Farmhouse. Thai food was on the buffet and seating was undercover in the open air. Based on the way my plate looks, it certainly doesn't seem like I'm a person who hardly ever eats lunch. Faced with the Thai buffet though, I had to try a little bit of everything. That's why it looks like this. I always liked Thai food before I came to the country. That turned into a full-on love affair after being able to eat it for every meal. Staples of the cuisine are rice, noodles, a wide range of vegetables, chicken, and pork. I'll have a full video soon concentrating on the food of northern Thailand. Our next stop was the Longneck Karen village, just a short distance outside of Chiang Rai. I was a bit torn about this site. Some people refuse to visit because they say that the members of villages such as this are being exploited and put on display for the amusement of tourists. I'll admit, it did kind of give me that vibe when I first arrived. I was a little skeptical when I got here. This is so close to Chiang Rai, and it's in the lowlands, not in the hills at all. But our guide Sammy assures me that this place is authentic and there are 130 people who live here. Residents of this village and others like it came here as refugees from Myanmar. Their status limits employment opportunities for them. Having tourists come into the place where they live provides a source of income that they wouldn't otherwise have. I paid just under $10 for the chance to enter the community. Many of the women of the village produce items for sale, predominantly textiles. That allows them to earn even more money. There are a couple dozen stalls with goods on display that can be purchased. In most of these, the women of the village are making those items. My sense is that while this setup isn't ideal, it allows these families to make the best of their situation. It also allows them to live in Thailand instead of their native country.
Yeah, I like stay here. I'm from Myanmar, but Myanmar no good.
This is called a long neck village because of the rings used to elongate the women's necks. They start with rings as children and add more through the years. Rings, it's said, provide a connection to the culture for those who wear them, as well as a sense of personal identity. I'm told that each person can choose to wear the rings or not, but who knows what family or community pressure is like. issues around this attraction are complicated, to say the very least. There is no controversy surrounding the next location on our tour. This is the Choi Phong Tea Plantation. It is quite an operation, ranking as the top tea producing plantation in the province. The founder established his first tea plantation in 1977 and expanded the operation to include this site in 2003. It is still a family endeavor. There are many tea plantations now in this part of Thailand. The catalyst for that came when the opium trade shut down. There's tea planted here right now. On this very farm, they used to grow poppies. This visit allowed for the chance to walk through some of the terraced fields. There was also a free tea tasting inside of the cafe and sales showroom. It's not only tea that is grown on this land. On our drive, we stopped at a rubber tree plantation. It was informative to see the liquid from cuts in the trees flow into collection containers. In an adjacent field, there were pineapples being grown. That's another of the important crops here. Based on seeing some that had been harvested, these were almost ready for market. It was a bit of a drive to our next stop. This is the northernmost point in Chiang Rai province, about 70 kilometers outside of the city. It's called the Golden Triangle and the spot where three countries come together. Just a little bit of orientation. I'm standing right now in Thailand. Over here is Myanmar and over here is Laos. The body of water, that's the Mekong River. There were a number of monuments and signs commemorating the Golden Triangle right along the river. It's 300 kilometers up the Mekong to China and about 700 kilometers to the epicenter of that devastating earthquake in Myanmar. I was here 2 days before that disaster occurred. The Golden Triangle has long been known for its opium production. For years, it generated more heroin than any other part of the world. Here, there is a House of Opium museum, which tells all about that history. The growth of opium poppies in Thailand is virtually non-existent today. That is not the case throughout the Golden Triangle. Myanmar just recently earned the dubious distinction of being the world's top producer of opium. On the tour, there was one more stop before returning to the city. Our small group made its way into a vividly green rice field. There, our guide took us through the release of a paper lantern. A flame was ignited inside the lantern, and a minute or so later, it took flight. This was a special way to cap off what had been a phenomenal day of exploration. There were some sights to experience within the city of Chiang Rai that I would like to mention. North of the center, there's a pleasant green space. This is the Chiang Rai City Park. I went there early on my final day in the city. It has a great mixture of features to allow people to experience a bit of tranquility. There are flowers and pieces of art scattered over the grounds. Some evidence exists indicating that this is a central venue for an annual flower festival. The place has come a long way. This was once the prison in the city. A few of the remnants of those days are preserved. Some of the walls are in place, while gates of the prison have in a few cases been covered by attractive paintings. It's a cool place to go, made even more appealing by its history. A little farther north is the Chiang Rai River Park. It's another inviting green space and also a place for recreation on the banks of the Coke River. A multi-use trail circles the park with a length of more than 1 kilometer. If I had stayed in the city longer, I would have used this as the site for my morning walks. This place was definitely not crowded, but it was hosting a bit of traffic on the morning that I stopped by. There are night markets in Chiang Rai. The largest take place on the weekends. I missed those, but I did get a chance to visit the night bazaar, which is generally open every day of the week. You are definitely not seeing this place at its best. The camera that I use has limitations in low light. This market opened at 6, and that's just as the light is beginning to fade. There are some stands that sell clothing and other items. One separate section, however, is dedicated to food. This is the place to find good traditional Thai cuisine at very reasonable prices. The number of stalls preparing food was not large, but they were turning out a decent variety of dishes. For me, it was a plus being able to see that food being cooked right on site. Anyone visiting the city would be doing themselves a favor by grabbing their dinner here. I did go to another temple inside the center of Chiang Rai. This is the Temple of the Seven Peaks. It is built in the traditional style for Buddhist complexes in Thailand. There's a difference in age from the other religious sites that I showed earlier. Construction here began in 1844, although it took almost a century to complete. Red dominates on the interior, but the Golden Buddha is at the center up front. This is one of 3 or 4 Buddhist temples that are easily accessible in the city center. It was only a couple hundred meters from where I stayed. My home in Chiang Rai was the Bazaar Hotel. My room was clean and spacious with a comfortable bed. That was great for my 2-night residence. The exterior had a couple of nice elements as well. It was just over $50 for my entire stay. Of course there was coffee, and I found 3 really nice places. I won't pretend to know how to pronounce this shop, but it is NIIP Coffee. The cafe was stylish with the usual artwork and sayings on the walls. I grabbed a seat on a couch in the back to enjoy my cappuccino. I love the building at Nippy Coffee Roaster. It was tucked in behind one of the main streets and not the easiest place to find. After they crafted my coffee drink, I found a spot under the tree in the shade. It was a fairly hot afternoon, but the heat wasn't a factor with the breeze. My favorite shop was the first one that I visited. It is called Cat in a Cup Coffee. The drink was sort of secondary here. This room was full of cats. They lounged around and occasionally wandered by the patrons to see if there were any treats to be had. When presented with this opportunity, I will nearly always take it. For me, having coffee with a couple dozen cats is just about perfect. Here, the coconut latte is pretty good as well. I've run into cat cafes in numerous cities that I've visited over the months. They always lure me in. My time in Chiang Rai began and ended at the bus station. This one was cool because of all the artwork adorning the walls and pillars. The scenes were prominent all throughout the station. They paid tribute to the region and gave those arriving an indication of what they were going to discover during their stay. It's transportation. People are going to be in the bus terminal whether there is an artistic component or not. The fact that it's not really necessary makes me appreciate it even more. For me, spending 2 nights here was just about right. It gave me time to walk around the city and the opportunity to travel a bit to take in all of those other sites that were a little farther away. I am glad that I decided to spend time here. As I continue my visit to Thailand, I still have much more to show you from this country. That will include my look at Chiang Mai, which is serving as my base for the month. As always, I'll try to make it fun and informative whenever you tune in to Old, Alone, and Far From Home.